Hi there, my name is Daan Assen and I'm founder and Chief Instructional Design at SwipeGuide. In this video we will give you some tips about how you can create clear visuals for your instructions. Visual information is critical for instruction because the brain processes visual information so much quicker than text. Up to 60,000 times, research has shown. And especially for instruction and learning, we see that you can raise the effectiveness of your instructions by 400% by using good and solid images in your instructions. In this video, we will give you the tips that help you create these visuals for the SwipeGuide instructions you're making. First tip is about using the right equipment. And the right equipment doesn't need to be very expensive. When you use SwipeGuide on mobile devices, you don't have to use 24 megapixel shots. Shooting with a smartphone or a tablet can already be sufficient. But in cases where you want to do more advanced shots, you might need and consider a DSLR camera. The second tip is about the lighting. Lighting really makes the difference when you create images. So ensure proper lighting. And proper lighting is lighting the object from at least two sides. And for lighting, a kit of under $100 is already enough to create beautiful images. The third tip is pick the right level of detail. Make sure that people, even on a smartphone, can see what the instruction is about. So if they need overview, be a bit to the back. If they need detail, be a bit closer to the object. The other one is remove distraction. You don't want to have a lot of distracting information in your images. So remove all the things that take people's attention away from the real object. Use white or dark backgrounds to really focus on the action and the object that is relevant for a specific step. Next tip is be consistent. Consider your images from the viewpoint that people will swipe through them. So think of it like an animation and be sure that the consistency is there in background, in color palette, so that it looks easy and smooth for users to follow as a story in SwipeGuide. The next tip, carefully consider motion. For motion, people tend to use video to capture a certain movement in a task step that you want to capture. An image there has limitations because you can't see this movement. At SwipeGuide, we really like animated GIFs for this purpose. That still gives people the motion, but reduces the lock-in effect that a video has. And video tends to set the pace that people are presented the information. So when you consider motion, or motion is important in your instructions, look at what you can do with animated GIFs. The next tip is use a model. Model is really helpful in pointing at specific points in a step that are relevant. You don't want to have too much of the model in the image because that can again be distracting. But the use of hands, for instance, to point at certain parts can be very powerful in instruction. Next tip, user orientation. So when you take shots for instruction, it's very good to do that from the viewpoint of the user. Again, we're all about user-centeredness. And if you take the shots from the standpoint and the viewpoint of the user, that makes instruction easier to follow. Next tip, neutral visuals. If you take shots of your product or procedure, you don't want to have too much detail that can give you problems. Problems for users to understand what's going on, but also problems in translating content. Especially in multilingual situations, you want to reduce the level of detail and make it a bit more neutral to avoid that you have to translate all your images. So with these tips, we hope we help you to create clear visuals for your instructions. If you look for more tips about how to create effective instructions with SwipeGuide, you can have a look at the other videos that we have available for you.